The Chicago Bulls take a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers, but there were some good things to come out of this game. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so tonight, the Chicago Bulls get beat by the Cleveland Cavaliers 135-113, and I think the initial key takeaway out of this is that the Chicago Bulls really sat a lot of players. They sat Kobe White, they sat Josh Giddey, Vooch, and there were still a lot of positive things to come out of this game. And so before we go ahead and jump into the key takeaways from tonight's loss, I first want to remind you that 73% of you that watch are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you go ahead and you slam dunk on that subscribe button, as it means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach our end of the season subscriber goal. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the box score and looking at the key takeaways. And so we start with the MVPs on the night. And so my first MVP on the night has to go to the rookie, Modest Buzelis. I think that, Modest Buzelis was certainly an MVP for me tonight because, number one, he was the only starter to play in this game. And number two, he's a rookie. And we know that, as he continues to show signs, that's just even more better for us Chicago Bulls fans and really for this franchise, because I think that he is going to be a player that is certainly going to impact this team and really help this team get a lot of wins in the future. And I think that this kid has a real chance to be a star. And so we got a chance to see that in tonight's game because, once again, he scores the basketball at a pretty good clip. He has 19 points in this one. He also had 5 rebounds. He had 5 assists, 2 steals. He had a block. He was negative 15 in the plus-minus box score, 6 of 12 from the field, only 2 of 7 from downtown in 27 minutes. And what I loved about this game and just seeing Modest Buzelis is that we got a chance to see him be a creator out there, so get a chance to handle the ball, get into some different situations, and I thought he looked good there. I think that you get a chance to see the confidence that he's playing with now, shooting the ball from deep. I believe now he's at 35%, and so he continues to rise up in the percentage points there. And then I love the fact that it looks like that he's getting a go-to move, which might be this little step through that was beautiful in the third quarter, and it's something that we've saw a couple times this season. And so Modest Buzelis continues to keep showing flashes, and I love the fact that he got some major minutes here tonight, and I think he played well. And so he is MVP number 1 on the night for me. And so next up, we go to MVP number 2 on the night, and that is going to go to Patrick Williams. So Patrick Williams scores 21 points in this game, and I think that this is probably the most confidence that I've seen Patrick Williams play with maybe the entire season out there. And so he got a chance to start. This is the first time that he started in quite some time, and so he had 21 points. He had 3 rebounds. He also played 24 minutes in this game, and he did have 5 assists and a steal as well, and he was negative 1 in the plus-minus box score. And he was 7 of 11 from the field, 5 of 6 from deep, and actually 26 minutes he played. So 26 minutes that he played. And so he was solid for, just coming in, stepping into a spot start. And again, Patrick Williams just played with a ton of confidence. I think that he didn't miss a 3-point shot until maybe late in the third quarter. And so this is generally why we're frustrated as Chicago Bulls fans, because we see the potential with Patrick Williams, but he'll have these type of games and then he'll go right back to having single-digit games and single-digit rebounding games. And so I just think at some point, Patrick Williams has got to start to play more towards this, and his floor just cannot be as low as it has been. And so I'm just hoping that he can build with some momentum going forward with this game. And so I did like what I saw from Patrick Williams. He got MVP number 2 on the night for me. And so next up, MVP number 3 for me It's THT. I think that THT did a terrific job as far as just going out and getting buckets, because that's what THT does. And so in this game, we saw him get 17 points. He also had 2 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He was -9 in the plus-minus box score, 6 of 11 from the field. And he also got to the free throw line as well, so that was good to see. 3 of 3 from there in 30 minutes. And so THT being the constant professional here, being ready to play, and I think that he's really done well this last week. I think he's really been hot. And in this game too, what I liked about THT is, man, he was going to the rim, he was getting dunks, he was slashing, he wasn't just settling for 3-point shots and things like that, and just showing you that THT can be a professional scorer for us out there. And so got to give him a ton of credit for stepping up. And so next, we just want to go into the box score and take a look at the rest of the team here. And so let's start with Zac Collins. And so I know it wasn't a great scoring game for Zac Collins, but he had 7 points in this one. He had 13 rebounds. He also had 3 assists. He was -16 in the plus-minus box score, 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from deep in 24 minutes. But I liked Zac Collins and his effort really on the boards. I did like that. And then that leads me to the next point in talking about Jalen Smith. And so he was close to being an MVP for me, especially since he hadn't been playing like that. He's been getting some did not plays. And so in this game, I thought he was aggressive. He came out, he had 13 points, he had 10 rebounds, he had 2 assists in this, and he had 1 steal, 1 block. He was -10. He was 4 of 10 from the field. And then he was also a tough night from the three-point line tonight, too. He's 1 of 5 from there in 32 minutes. But still, the minutes that he played, and then the fact that he got a chance to play with Zac Collins. And so this was one of the positives out of this game, is that Billy Donovan did, in fact, play with 2 centers out there. So we had some double bigs out on the floor, and so we got a chance to see that. And I think that that's something that the Bulls need to utilize some more. We also get a chance to see, these young athletic bigs get out there. Now, I think that it's going to be another thing once you see Coby White and Josh Giddey out there with them, but I like the fact that we got a chance to see that today. And so next up, Dalen Terry. And so, look, I liked Dalen Terry's energy. I think that he had a couple good slashes to the basket in this one. He had 9 points. He had 3 rebounds. He also had an assist. He had a steal. He was -11, 3 of 8 from the field, 24 minutes. He got his shots up too as well. He was 1 of 5 from deep. And so I like the energy that I got from Dalen Terry. Julian Phillips, I think he gave us a highlight dunk, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was in the third quarter as well. So I liked what I saw from Julian Phillips, giving us a ton of energy out there in today's game. And then he had 7 points. He had 2 rebounds. He also had an assist, -12 in 19 minutes. He was 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from deep. And then next up, when it came down to just other players that got a chance that we just really haven't seen, play too much this year. So like Emmanuel Miller, he had 2 rebounds. He had an assist in 4 minutes. We saw Jameer Young. I think he got a chance to score. I think it was his first time scoring in an NBA game. So he had 4 points. He had a rebound, 2 assists in 10 minutes. EJ Liddell gave us 6 points, 3 rebounds in 10 minutes. He was -7 in the plus-minus box score. And you got to give Javon Carter a lot of credit, because this guy came into the game, he got his opportunity, and man, he did not waste time getting shots up, because he was 4 of 15 from the field, 2 of 9 from deep. He had 10 points. He had 4 steals, 3 assists, 1 rebound, -18 in the plus-minus box score. And so, look, I think that the key takeaway here is that the Bulls still competed with what they had, because they did put in a really good third quarter to get back into this one. In fact, it was a 19-2 run, if I'm not mistaken, in the third quarter. So that was very impressive. I loved what I saw from Modest. We talked about the step through and just him kind of being a bit more crafty on the offensive end. Dalen Terry, I loved his energy, his action in the open floor. That was great. You saw Patrick Williams playing with a ton of confidence. Jalen Smith being assertive. And that's great to see. You don't want his confidence to really be shaken, especially if you qualify for the playoffs. I think that he's certainly going to be a factor. And with Billy Donovan playing both him and Zac Collins. Like, I want to see more of that type of combination of lineups, hopefully, as we approach the play-in situation, maybe a playoff situation. And so that was a plus to see as well. And I just like the way that the Bulls fought in this one. It made it interesting in the third because the Cavs, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell, but they still had a lot of their starters out there. And so I just think a good effort from the Chicago Bulls tonight. And so let's go ahead and jump into just the team box score really quickly and look at some of those key takeaways here. And so, I thought it was interesting because I think that this was a lot more closer than I thought. 45-44 as far as the Bulls and the rebounding totals. This is where we got hurt again. This is something that's been struggling or been a struggle point really for the Chicago Bulls team, and that's the turnover department. So 20-12, we lead in that department. So that's never good when you're turning the basketball over. You're hurting yourself there. And so we struggle. The next up, the block shots, we were tied 3-3 with the Cavs. Points in the paint, 50-48. Bulls points in the paint. As far as the Cavs in the steals, they lead in that department 13-9. So their activity was great there. I think that they had several times where they were able to get some steals and get to the basket there. That goes into the turnovers that we had. And so next, we got 20-16, the Bulls in the fast break department. And so still tried to play a bit faster. I think the offense, it just really struggled a bunch today as far as kind of knocking down three-pointers in bunches. But I still like the fact that we were trying to play fast, and that's good to know that this team is still trying to stick to that identity. As far as the field goal percentage, look, 47.7% from the field for the Bulls, 34.9% from three. You had the Cavs, look, they were just unconscious today, 51% from the field, 50% from deep. That was really the story of the game. They just couldn't miss, and so we got hit with the Cavalanche, as they call it. And then next up for the Bulls, look, 26 assists to 41 field goal makes. And so, look, I know it's a tough loss here, but, it was going to be tough because we didn't have Coby White. We didn't have Josh Giddey. We didn't have Vooch out there. We still don't have Lonzo. We don't have Trey Jones. There was just a bunch of players that were out. And again, this is Billy Donovan having to experiment with lineups, and it was just a different feel out there for this team. But again, I like what I saw here in the third quarter. We'll see what happens as they get a chance to play again here coming up tomorrow. And so anyway, let me know in the comments, what is your key takeaways from tonight's loss? And look, it's a tough one, but I'm still saying it's going to be all right, and go Bulls. We'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.